Today, we just arrived at the Round Lake Children's Museum and we're going to check it out. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda and Theo Von Panda. We want to check out the Round Lake Children's Museum because it's inexpensive, it's pretty close to me, and looks like it's a pretty good indoor facility for when the snow is coming down and the weather is cold. Let's check it out. The first thing you should know is that the Children's Museum is in the basement of the community center, so it's not obviously marked on the outside, but you just go in and check in at the main desk. You will have to sign a waiver for you and your child, and then they will take payment depending on where you live. You are also going to get a wristband. The adult and the child both need to wear them, so I've noticed that the colors can vary from day to day, so don't try to sneak in, but your child is going to get one, and it may take a couple wraps around their wrist if they're particularly small. Once you get your waiver and payment all squared away, you can head downstairs and you will actually go through the gymnasium, and you're just going to kind of cut the corner in the gymnasium. To the left side is the entrance to the Children's Museum. As soon as you go through the door, there are actually some cubbies where you can hang up your backpacks and jackets. You don't actually have to take off your shoes for this museum like some of the other places. I noticed that if you get there early, it tends not to be super crowded, but if you get there in midday or in the later afternoon, there actually can be a lot of people and you might have to just kind of find a place for your jackets. There are some museum rules: no food or drink allowed. You must have your child supervised while you are there. The first room is actually the bigger of the two rooms, and it has a little racetrack or a street surrounding a small Round Lake park. And then around the edges of the room are a bunch of stores and buildings where the children can explore. So if you get into one of the little Tykes trucks, you can drive around. Foot power only, so Flintstone style, but the kids seem to really like them. There is a little fire truck as well as a little tiny wooden construction vehicle. So a variety of vehicles that the kids can try out. The other thing in the middle is that there is a little rug lake that have little trout stuffed animals in there, a tree in the middle. There's a little campfire with little tiny wooden seating pillows around it so the kids can sit there. Around the edges of the Acorn Acres park area are the buildings. One of the first ones that you'll notice here is a little food truck that is painted white. It's got a menu on it and some foodstuffs in it. I actually heard that this was a fire truck at some point, so I think throughout the years they are doing some constant updates. The other thing that I noticed is in the corner here is a little under construction building with some children's tools and sawhorses. They even have some toys here like a crane and a bulldozer. On the wall, they actually have some blueprints of some projects that are happening in Round Lake, so that's kind of a nice little touch. You can also get the outfits, the hard hats, and some reflective vests and bricks and building materials to play with there as well. Then next to it, if you continue to walk along the wall there is a little boardwalk that connects a variety of stores. The first one is a little tiny grocery store that is fitted with all sorts of toy foods. There are some small shopping carts there, even a register to check out at. Then next to that is a small doctor's office, brought to you by North Shore Medical, so a little sponsorship there. But they have little lab coats and outfits and stethoscopes, some beds and some x-rays, all the things that kids would associate with the doctor's office. And then next to that is an auto body shop that has some tools, a taxi cab, a gas station there, as well as an ATM. In fact, my son took the fire truck hose off of the fire truck car and brought it over to fill it up. So he's going to be carrying around gasoline in a bucket one of these days. If we spin around and look towards the entrance, actually right next to the entrance door is a little schoolhouse. So you have some desks there, some whiteboards, books, learning materials. In fact, they have a little computer set up with some headphones so that you can listen to some activities and stories there if you want. I like the idea of a little red schoolhouse. It's kind of romantic and old-fashioned. Then right next to the schoolhouse is an infant area, a crawler area. So this is meant for the kids that aren't running around yet, the ones that are still in that baby phase. Now, I didn't see a wall or anything that protects this area. Sometimes these infant areas are cordoned off by some baby walls to keep the running and walking toddlers out of that area. So you just have to watch your kids and make sure that they don't get into any trouble with the bigger kids. They also have this tree stump-like play apparatus, so the kids could climb in there, look up through the little skylight there. It's kind of a nice little play area for the smaller ones. I did see a couple of infants actually using that area, as well as toddlers going in there and playing with the toys on the wall, but everyone was pretty careful about staying out of the way of the kids that were really vulnerable. In the corner, they actually have a 2-story little house with all of the furnishings of a house, including a washer dryer, a little refrigerator, a kitchen set up, so the kids can go in there. They are fully equipped, so there are silverware and dishware and other hardware that you can put into the dishwasher. I noticed on one end they have some cubbies where there would be pets, so there are some stuffed animals. They're actually big enough for fairly small toddlers to get into, so if you can't find your kid, they may have wedged themselves into there. There is a little stairwell on the far side. I wish there was a handrail for some of the smaller kids to help them get up to that second level. But they can go up there, up at the top. There is that second level. There are some books up there. There are some couches up there. There are some windows up there so that the kids can look out and look down. One of the things that I had heard from staff there is that they don't want more than 4 kids up there at any particular point. So I think that is maybe for weight and safety and or fire issues more than anything else. I did see more than 4 kids up there at some point, so it's not a particular problem. There was no collapsing of anything. They also ask you not to take toys up there. I think it's harder for the adults to get up there and bring stuff down to clean it up at the end of the day. But a nice quiet place for a kid to grab a book, stare upon the masses playing on the floor, and being away from the higher energy and chaos down on the main floor itself. Now, I mentioned there are 2 main rooms, so there's a second room all the way in the back through the doors. You're not allowed to bring the toys or the cars into the other room. The room is a little bit smaller, and I think it's geared for engaging kids in activities as opposed to just kind of playing with toys. So there is a little theater set up here. I did see actually some of the older kids participating in the theater. Some of them may have been in theater in school, and so they had things they were reciting, and the parents have some benches there that they can sit on and watch some of that. They have some STEAM-focused toys in the rest of the room. So I think STEAM stands for science, technology, education, arts, and math. And so the toys are geared a little bit more towards science, you know, showing things like gears, how they work, and magnets, how they stick together, and puzzles and things that are a little bit more thoughtful. One thing that I will note about this is that it's called a children's museum, and what I have noticed here is that there are places that call themselves indoor playgrounds, and so they'll have things like monkey bars and ladders and slides. This place does not have that, so this is meant to be more of a mentally engaging place. So if your child likes to sit down and do activities, play a puzzle, play with blocks, try to solve things, try to work on kind of their smaller hand movements, then this is a place that I think will really engage them. If your child is more energetic and just wants to climb nets and go down big slides and play in the sand and ride some of the spring-loaded rides that are a little bit more energetic and violent, then this might not really hold their attention. But for some of the children that really want to engage in play independently, mimic careers, then this is a place that could really appeal to them. There is also another room attached to this room, and it looked like this was the private party room. So I did notice on the website that you could book events here for small groups. I think it's supervised, and maybe they'll even allow some food in here. I believe it's about $250. I don't know for what time periods, and maybe you can get this outside of the open play hours, so you would have access to the museum entirely to yourself. But it could be a great way to have the kids be entertained, taken care of, learn something, and certainly maybe a little bit more organized than just kind of throwing together your own party. So that is definitely an option there, and you can see that there's plenty of space there for a fairly large group of kids to kind of enjoy an afternoon at the museum. One of the things that I really liked about this museum is that it is quite affordable. So if you live in district, it is only $6 per child. You don't have to pay separately for the adult that is accompanying the child. If you live outside a district, it is $8 per child. And so I think a really good value. The only thing that I would mention here is that you do want to make sure that you check their schedule to see when they're open. The hours vary by day, and the hours are not always congruent. So sometimes they're open for a couple of hours in the morning and then a couple of hours in the afternoon, and then usually closed on holidays or special hours around the holidays. So check on their website. I will put links to everything that you need to explore the Round Lake Children's Museum in the description below. Peter Von Panda with Theo Von Panda out.